So I said that Iran and Pakistan's exchange of missiles wouldn't lead to a wider conflict, and guess what? The situation has just resolved itself. So how did I know, and what was the point of this conflict at all? So recap: January 16, Iran carried out missile and drone strikes on western Pakistan. 2 children were killed. Pakistan retaliated with Operation Margbar Samachar, striking within Iranian territory, and thus many were very worried that a larger conflict would break out. I think we need to understand is that both parties acted from a position of weakness. You see, in between these two countries is a wannabe autonomous region known as Baluchistan, made up of the local ethnic Baluch people. Neither country really controls this region, and the official border only really exists on maps and not in real life. To assert dominance in the region, Pakistan uses Jaish al-Adl, a Sunni Saudi terror group made up of Pakistan's Baluch people. They attack Iran, aiming to free the Baluch people under the rule of Iran and thus helping Pakistan project power. And Iran, on the other hand, has organizations like the Baluchistan Liberation Army who attack the Baluch people in Pakistan, doing the same thing. Usually this can fly underneath the radar, for constant fighting between the different Baluch people keeps them busy and distracted, and thus this is advantageous for both Pakistan and Iran, who really don't want an independent Baluchistan. But the situation recently has been quite different. Iran's foreign policy, you see, has traditionally been to export the fighting outside of the country using proxies. For example, the fighting in Baluchistan through proxies, the Houthis in Yemen, Hezbollah in Lebanon, etc. And by doing so, the Iranian people live in relative peace. But unfortunately, on January 3, 84 people in Kerman, Iran were killed in a double suicide bombing, and the Sunni Salafi group claimed responsibility. The social contract with its citizens was Iran had to keep the bloodshed outside, and furthermore, Iran's government was already incredibly unpopular. Who could forget the recent protests about the way they treated their women? And thus the easiest way of gaining support and popularity is by showing strength, by attacking the enemy responsible for all these horrific attacks inside Iran. Meanwhile, in Pakistan, their current government isn't hugely popular either. Their economy is dire, and who could forget the ousting of everyone's favorite hero, Imran Khan, and the elections are very soon, happening in February. And one very easy way to gain support of the people is by claiming a national security threat, citing an Irani missile strike on its sovereign territory, for example. And thus the reason a larger conflict didn't occur was because all of this was for show, and neither country are really in a position to fight a proper war anyway. Iran looks to be already quite exhausted with their current conflicts involving their proxies, as proved by their constant reminders to Hezbollah to stay out of the wider Middle Eastern conflict right now, and their economy also looks to be very fragile indeed. Meanwhile, Pakistan's economy is even worse, and furthermore, it looks like China may have mediated talks between Iran and Pakistan. One reason China is involved is because China has invested billions in the China-Pakistan economic corridor, and they will try to protect their huge investment any way they can, and confident their mediation ability was boosted by their early success with Saudi Arabia and Iran, something many thought to be impossible. And thus this is why a larger war didn't break out. Thanks for listening.